Daedalus built the labyrinth for King Minos of the island of Crete to imprison the monster, the Minotaur. Daedalus lost the favor of the king and was imprisoned, along with his son, Icarus, in a tower overlooking the sea. So Daedalus set to work to fabricate wings for himself and his son so they could escape. He wrought feathers together. The larger ones he secured with thread and the smaller with wax. He tried the wings himself and with a whoosh alighted into the air. Next he equipped his son in the same manner and said, "Icarus, my son, I charge you to keep at a moderate height, for if you fly too low the damp will clog your wings, and if too high the heat will melt them. Keep near me and you will be safe." Then rising on his wings, Daedalus flew off, encouraging Icarus to follow. At first Icarus flew as his father, but soon the boy, exulting in his flight, soared upward as if to reach heaven. The heat from the blazing sun softened the wax which held the feathers together, and they came off. He fluttered with his arms and began to fall from the sky. Icarus cried out to his father as he plummeted into the blue waters of the sea. When Daedalus looked back and did not see his son, he cried, "Icarus, Icarus, where are you?" At last Daedalus saw the feathers floating on the water, and bitterly lamenting his own arts, he buried the body and called the land Icaria in the memory of his child. Daedalus arrived safe in Sicily, where he built a temple to Apollo and hung up his wings, an offering to the god. The moon meets us nightly, the great light of the night sky. Humanity has thrown enormous amounts of resources into attempting to understand the moon, yet she keeps her mysteries intact. Yes, she, a lunar legendary goddess going by so many names which both reveal and conceal her true nature. Selene, Hecate, Artemis, Phoebe, Chandra, and many other names spoken all over the earth and back through history. This story is about the discovery of a mystery that harkens back to ancient legends, depicted in the least likely place one could consider, the far side of the moon. My name is Christine Patrick, and along with Brett Sheppard, we research anomalous phenomena on the moon. In recent years, Brett has done a large body of work finding and illuminating embedded holographic images in space agency photographs of the lunar surface. Brett is the founding administrator of the Facebook group, the Lunar Anomaly Research Society, or LARS, and together we wrote a book about these strange images in Brett's story called Paradimensional Space Art, Extra-Dimensional Communication in Space Images. In April 2014, Brett showed me a striking feature of the moon's surface in Icarus crater on the far side of the moon. This feature looked very much to us like a human figure kneeling on the ground. Our analysis and discovery of who this figure possibly was and the unfolding story of what we found is the subject of this video.
One day, I was looking at the lunar orbiter images, the old ones, from the Lunar Orbiter Apollo missions, and I was looking at Lunar Orbiter 1, and I went through there and came across 1197, which was a depiction of the Highlands and Icarus crater. One thing I noticed is that the sequences were out of sequence because these are film strips, and at the beginning of that film strip we should have seen the way the lunar orbiter was flying across the moon. We should have seen Daedalus crater. It's completely missing, out of sequence. But we do get to see Icarus crater, which is a very unusual spot. You can't really miss it. It's an unusual feature. It's sort of like Tycho crater. It's like a big sun ray or sun splotch. So I focused in on that, and the closer I got to it, it started looking very unusual. I could see almost, it almost looked like some kind of a little speck in there. And the closer I got to it, it started looking like the figure of a little tiny person. So I zoomed into that and noticed that it was like maybe some kind of angel or something like that. Some kind of angel figure is what it looked like. It looked like a classical depiction of an angel or something. Except for the fact that it didn't have wings attached to its back. And that was a little bit confusing. Later that day, Karen came, and I told her about this particular image, and I showed it to her, and I said, yeah, it's a picture of a little nude man, or like a classical nude figure or something, and it has wings, but they're not attached. And Karen thought about that.
I could see the wings were not attached, and I took a break and thought about it and realized there was really only one story that I could think of. It was the story of Daedalus and Icarus. At the end of the flight of Daedalus and Icarus, after Icarus falls from the sky and perishes, his father Daedalus builds a temple, or goes to a temple, and offers his wings to the sun god. Which, as soon as I thought about that story, I ran back in and got real excited and talked to Brett about it, because he offered his wings to Apollo. And what are the odds, right? That the Apollo missions is when planet Earth sends humans, right, to go to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the reverse side of the moon,
it's on the farthest part of it.
It's the farthest side. There's a image of a man who is got detached wings, and he's bent down in a worship kind of position, and it could be Daedalus, and he's giving his wings to Apollo. And just to add, the punctuation mark there, the exclamation point is that all of this is contained in Icarus crater. I mean, what are the odds? There's something going on.
Exactly. I mean, further analysis of that image, it actually depicts an angelic, like they've already passed on or something, an angelic Icarus that's looking at his father, giving the wings to Apollo.
So we were hooked.
So we were kind of like, well, there's definitely more to this image and more to this story. Hi guys, I just wanted to explain the process briefly that I use. I'm going to go grab this image 1197_MED, and we'll pop that up. And as you can see, it is a grayscale image of the moon. And we're going to zoom into Icarus crater here. I'll just show you where that is in relation to what I'm working on right now. And there is the little guy that we're talking about with the wings. And I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and open it in GIMP so that I can edit it, and I'll show you the process that I use. Some of this is intuitive, how I find the images, but I can show you right here where we'll go ahead and grab this tool and zoom in. And I'm going to work on the thesis character and Selene. And Linus is the one that taught him warfare.
Theseus. Famous hero.
Theseus,
who
yes.
killed the Minotaur that Daedalus imprisoned. It goes with.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and invert that image. So now we have an inverted image, and as you can see, there's a photorealistic looking person right there. This is embedded. We don't exactly know why, but it is there on the moon in this particular image. And what I'm going to do is just kind of do a little treatment and highlight, colorize, tint a little bit. But as you can see, I have not done anything to the image. It looks the same grayscale as if I'd color it.
How do you know to invert it?
So inverting it is just an intuition thing. It actually looks like it should be inverted, so I go ahead and do that. I really can't explain that. It's an artistic eye thing. So it kind of looks like a white space, and it looks like there's you know, different patterns and such, and it looks like it's an inverted image, because I guess I've seen too many of them or something. But so I'll go ahead and color his hair and his hat.
I was really surprised when you said he had a hat.
Yeah, he has a Phrygian cap.
Yeah, which goes along with that era. Which is amazing. So there's other characters.
That one's a lot of fun to do. He actually looks very photorealistic, you know. And I don't know, a very deep feeling of ancestry there. It looks very much like our ancestors. And so that's basically the process. That's about all I do to these images to try and get people to see what I'm seeing. And there's another picture of Daedalus and Icarus crater. And where we are, I'll go ahead and show this one. This is the color version of what I was just working on. Happy to show you guys what I do.
And there's Theseus up in the right, and he's turned and looking at Selene, who was the character in the story.
Yeah, he's kind of looking cockeyed in the corner there.
Right, and he has a bear cloak. And I mean, there's a lot of details from the story of Theseus. He's wearing a bear cloak and a Phrygian cap, and we found references to this in the mythology.
Yeah, now this is the new thing that I'm working on. I'm taking a series of lunar orbiter film strips. And the Lunar Orbiter films were always meant to be seen as a film, and a lot of people don't realize that. But you know, what I've decided to do is I thought in my head, what if Lunar Orbiter could stop and take a film of just one spot, like Icarus crater or something, and just keep it there so that we could see UFOs or anything that might be flying by. As it is right there, the moon will actually travel. It will actually traverse in the camera. So instead of traversing in the camera, I decided to go ahead and stabilize the camera through animation and through modern digital techniques. So that's pretty much what we're looking at there. We are looking at a moving anomaly. And as you can see, he blinks a little bit. And there's Daedalus in the crater again, and you can see the light, how it kind of goes across the surface, and it almost looks as if the wing is flapping, but you know, it just might be some kind of animation trick or something. Basically, I'm just lining these images up. What we see is what we get here. So we are seeing moving anomalies there. And these are the film canisters that the NASA the Lunar Orbiter Image Recovery Project has, and we need to see those films. Roll the film.